It's Friday Night Writes with the Stop Writing Alone community. I'm Nicole Rivera, and I'm here every single week sharing prompts, exercises, and writing prompt parties for you to be inspired for the whole weekend through. Come on in, bring your notebook, your laptop, or whatever it is you want to write with, because as soon as we get started, you'll be inspired to start scribbling away your weekend. Thanks for coming, and enjoy your Friday Night Writes. The recording in progress, lady. Alrighty, ladies. So what we're gonna do today is our writing prompt party, where we're gonna pick a prompt. I'm gonna set a timer. Oh, I didn't get my timer set up. I'll do that in a second. We'll write, and you can type it or whatever you want. I'm a notebook girl for the writing prompt parties. And then when the time is up, we're gonna read whatever the heck it is that we got, with the full grace of knowing that we just did this on a timer. It's first draft. It's going to be a little bit messy, but hopefully we have the nugget of something. And so the story cubes that I have here, this is a giant version. I don't even have the regular version of Rory's story cubes is about the size of a wallet, and it's a nice little box. But this, they made a bigger one because lots of schools started using them and everything, so that it made it easier to share with a group. And what it is a set of 9 cubes, and we're going to roll them, and we're going to just get all these different images on here. And that is what we are going to use to create our story. So I'll just read to you real quickly, like the instructions that they have on how to play Rory's story cubes. They say there's an infinite ways to play with Rory's story cubes. You can play solitaire or with others. Here are a few suggested ways to unleash your creativity. So you roll all 9 cubes and look at the face-up images. Pick an image that will be the starting point for your story. Beginning with once upon a time, make up a story that somehow links together all 9 face-up images. The other and it really doesn't have to be once upon a time, but that's what they use to sort of help us trigger it. The goal is just to try to get as many of the images into your story as possible. But if I'm looking, this is like the last roll that I had done. When I look at these images, they can also be symbolic, right? So a lot of times when I see like this light bulb, I'll think like an idea, or maybe this magnifying glass has me thinking that it's going to be a mystery. So it's going to be up to you whether or not you want to be a stickler about it and say, no, I want to make sure there's a magnifying glass and a light bulb in my story, or if you want to take it in that symbolic way. I'm looking. It's not here. Almost always, every time I roll, I get one of the pictures is a question mark. Drives me crazy. So I'm like, okay, I'll just make sure someone asks a question at some point. But so that's essentially the essence of it all. But for some reason, when we use these cubes, people tend to come up with some very cool stories. So I figured I would take today to play with these. One of the things that I was like, my theme for the month was kid friendly and NaNoWriMo thinking of prompts, and story cubes are very like kid and family friendly. So I figured that could be something that we could share. So Jackie, I know you're very familiar with the cubes. Linda, do you have any questions about the cubes or how to go about this?
So the cubes are 3, you pick up 3 of them, or is it all of them?
It's all of them.
Oh my God.
and you try. If you can't get all of them, it's no big deal. But the great challenge is to try to get all of them. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's sort of it's a prompt, and as we've talked about in the past, when you use them to create a story, right? So like if there's one that doesn't fit, don't use it. Interpret them however you want. So like if there's one of them is a globe, like I think it's globe on a stand. And so you could interpret that as a globe on somebody's desk, which is how I did it when it came up once, or you could interpret it as the world, or you could interpret it as travel. Oh no, it is just a globe. Okay. But you can interpret it just however, a map, so like you get that you could have a map to buried treasure, right? Like that's not what that cube says, but you can interpret it if that will help you get to a
Hmm.
story. And so, and if it's like, I can't fit it in, or it doesn't,
And
you
just
know,
move on.
you
Yeah.
only can use 6 of them or something. It's interesting because the combination has always, in my case, come up with something crazy and stories that I can use for something else. It's like, it's a really good, even though when you look at it at first, every single time we've done it, I'm just like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I get almost mad. Like, I have that resistance of, I don't like that role. Can we do it again?
Right.
But then I just start going and it always works. So,
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to use them in the order, like you don't have to use the first cube, then the second cube, just whatever way you can sort of put them together in some sort of story. Again, like Jackie said, our goal here is just to inspire some piece of writing in whatever way it comes. And so yeah, it's really interesting. This is a prompt tool that I really resisted a lot when I first got it. I was like, I don't see how that's going to help at all. And the first time that I forced myself to sit and say, all right, let me do what they say, I was floored by this by the story that I got. I was like, whoa, okay, that actually worked. So, all right, I'm going to roll these. So it's going to make a little bit of a noise. Hold on a second. And I'll just make sure that they're all sort of facing up for you guys. Okay, yeah, you see, like, there's a thing here that, I don't know, we're gonna need to discuss what the heck it is. Okay, but most of them are pretty clear, I think. So I don't know, what you can do, I guess, is like, just write down what they are.
What they are, okay.
Yeah, so we've got like 9 objects here. I rolled them and put them in, so we have a lightning bolt. I'm just going to say what they are literally, but then again, interpretation totally up to you. A rainbow with a little cloud there.
Right.
A tent or a teepee. It might be a teepee. It looks kind of rounded. The flashlight came up for us here. A turtle. And now this is the one, ladies, I don't know. What are we looking at here? A bunch of arrows in all directions. This is very symbolic. I think like
there's a single arrow though, so that's just weird.
this is just nuts. I don't know if I've ever gotten this. It kind of looks like a Ferris wheel to me, but then it is just arrows in all
Could
different
be
directions.
like a
almost a
map.
compass,
Goes in
too.
different
It could be
directions.
almost a compass too, right? Exactly. So I think like, yeah, have fun with that. And it'll be interesting to hear everybody's stories and what you decide to do with that. Then we have an abacus on the bottom here. An arrow.
Oh,
No bow, just the arrow. And like a padlock or just a lock. I got nothing yet. I got nothing yet. So we have, you can, if you want to use the Rory Story Cube rules and start with Once Upon a Time, or just start it whatever way you want. And try to get all of these things into the story. Did you guys get them down? Do you have?
Them up in the chat.
Oh, Jackie, you are my
Just a couple
hero.
of the alternate sort of definitions, the compass and the TP.
Okay,
You know,
perfect.
like the abacus, like that's the really tricky one. You don't have to have an abacus in your story because that's really hard.
Yeah,
But you can have counting or numbers or
exactly.
math or
Yeah, really, like, what do these things make you think of? What do they inspire for you? Right, that could be a little bean counter or what have you. Anytime the lightning bolts, I think of the flash.
counting, like, I'm just like all the different things that the abacus spins off, right?
Yeah.
Your protagonist could be an accountant, things like that.
Yeah, I
I
think
still
that'll.
have nothing even as I'm talking it through.
I'm gonna drop I have a cuckoo timer if you want, and what a cuckoo timer is, Linda, is basically it's a website where I can set the timer that we can all see and share. so that if you want to see the timer as you're writing, you can look at it as well. So that's the link that I just put in the chat there. If it'll be too distracting to you, don't worry about it. I'll let you know when time is up. Some people find it very helpful. Some people are like, you just tell me, Nicole, I will just write. So I'm thinking, how are we doing for time here? 15 minutes to write? Too short? You want to go for 20?
Yeah.
Jackie's making faces at me. Linda might be making faces at me too. She just
I
keeps
thought it was
secret.
5 minutes myself.
5 minutes.
No, because what we do want to try to make, what I often say with the writing prompt party is that you may not get a full story, but if you get like a scene, you want to just sort of have like a moment. And with 20 minutes, you could actually get a full story, a beginning, middle, and end. But yeah, try to shoot for some complete moment of something happening with all this stuff. I'm still at a complete loss, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the timer, and then I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear me cursing the cubes. And then we'll be back and we'll read what we got. Good luck. Happy writing. Okay, that was our 20 minutes. If you need a second to sort of like wrap up, some Jackie's making what's happening over there, Jackie? I'm seeing you.
Okay. I mean, I didn't get everything in, but I had intentions, like it's going in the direction where everything would fit, and it is what it is.
Do you feel like you needed a little more time, or it's
I started, like I usually do. I started with a sentence that touched on the prompt in some way.
Okay.
And then I realized this would just work really well for my work in progress. Well, my big work in progress.
The
for
world.
Sake, I have a novel series, something called The Favor Fairies, where these teenagers encounter these fairies who grant wishes. And I've written the first one, published it on Kindle Vella, and I'm working on revising the second one. And then there's a couple more that are sort of in development in my brain or have been partly written. And as I was writing, I realized that this would set up nicely a scene. But I don't know exactly what happens in the scene. It's just a nice setup for something.
But it's planted a seed of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
So I think I could. I think I can use this, but I'm like, exactly what is going to happen in the scene, I don't know. But I was able to use all of the things. I didn't get the flashlight and the lightning bolt just because I needed time to get it. It's still light.
Yeah.
And I want it to be dark.
It's not nighttime yet.
It's not night yet, so I can't use them yet.
I love how you tend to do, like, you make sure that you bring it into your world. Like, I'm so outside the realm of anything that I'm writing right now, but that's really did you sit down again with the intention of whatever prompt we get today, I want to try to bring it into the Favor Fairies world, or did it finally click that way?
I mean, my brain is so focused on that right now that I thought, if I can use it for that, that would be great. But some prompts, like if we had done the sticks, I don't know that I could have made that happen.
Very,
They're very
directed.
Specific.
Yeah.
And there's some prompts, and if we had done Storymatic, depending on what we had done, I might or might not have, so depending on the prompt, but because these are so open-ended, I was like, and like I say, I started a first sentence and I was like, yeah, I think I can just go with this,
Cool.
And I've done this several times where I've been able to incorporate it, but not always, so I doubt my NYC Midnight Story tonight will be in my world. But you never know. My last NYC Midnight Story was sort of tangent.
Was it? Oh, interesting. Oh, that's right. Yes, the witch you had. Okay, I remember. Yeah.
Yep, there's a witch and a fairy.
And Linda, before we get into reading, how did it go for you for trying to deal with these tiny little pictures and make them into a story?
I included a father and a son, so I could use the lightning bolt, and then I could use the teepee that he set up in his room for his son.
Oh, cool.
and they were studying the American Indians. So he was able to fashion an arrow by looking at YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay. And the hardest thing was doing the, what is it? The arrow and the, what am I thinking?
Oh,
of?
the
The
crazy
bow.
arrows and
The
the
bow.
app.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yes,
they
yes,
were
yes.
gonna they were gonna do a trip to the country so that they could go into the forest and work on his bow and arrow and hit a makeshift thing on a tree, you know,
Cool.
some kind of target practice and all that. And then I would probably, oh, I said that the boy had a trunk at the head of his bed, and in that he had all his treasures, and one was
Ah,
an abacus and a jade turtle from when they had been studying ancient China.
love it. Love
Oh,
it.
brilliant.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
great.
have to ask, when you started your explanation, you said, I have a father and a son, so I can incorporate the lightning bolt. And I didn't see the connection there. So
Well,
how
the
did,
father was looking out the window in New York and he saw a lightning bolt and he went to check on his son who was
okay,
sleeping in a teepee
Oh,
that they
fun.
had put up in his room that afternoon.
Great.
got it. It was just
Love it.
like the way you said that, I was like, wait, did I miss something there?
What's the father's son?
there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Lightning.
yeah. So
So Jackie, I know that you are probably the most crammed for time today. Do you want to read your story first
Sure, I can read
and
it.
and get it out of the way? And do you want me to you're okay with recording?
Yeah, this isn't anything final or
Okay, cool.
special.
I'm gonna mute
Way.
myself so you can read. Go ahead.
Get it set up here. It's locked. They had come all this way following the dot on the app like it was an arrow on a treasure map. Along the way, they had managed to get lost twice because the app had sent them in all kinds of directions as if it was unsure of the best route. And to be honest, it wasn't even a real road that led them here. Holden had argued that the dirt path wouldn't even be on Google Maps and had kept going down the highway. It was only Jenny's insistence that the map had been right the first time that they had made it this far. They had parked at the end of the short road, but Google had urged them further on foot. After another couple of miles, but who's counting, Jenny had said, reluctantly shouldering her heavy backpack with camping supplies, they reached the end of the road, so to speak. And now the dot was right on top of the location. You have arrived, it spoke in the otherworldly female voice. It was a tall iron gate. The fence that surrounded the property was likewise tall and imposing and absolutely unscalable. Both were in impeccable condition, painted in bright colors. Someone clearly wanted to protect what was on the other side. Well, I have to admit, this does seem to be the right place. Holden pointed to the insignia on the gate. It was a stylized turtle, just like they had seen on the building in town. What do you want to do? Jenny asked. Well, we came all the way here. I don't really want to leave now, do you? He glanced at his watch. Let's go ahead and set up our tent and see what happens after midnight. Jenny scrunched up her face. They had driven all this way while it was still light outside, sensing they would never find the address out in the middle of nowhere if they'd come after dark. But neither of them had anticipated a barrier like this. I guess. She looked up at the heavy clouds. I hope the weather holds out. When they had planned this excursion a few days ago, the weather forecast had been clear, but just as they got on the road, rain entered the forecast for overnight. We'll be okay. This is a good tent. Holden had already slipped his backpack from his shoulders and started unpacking it. He had tossed the sleeping bag on the ground and now was unfurling the tent from his sleeve. Jenny worked to clear branches and other debris from a spot a little ways off from the gate itself. There was something about it that gave her the creeps. And that's where I got.
And your
So-
your first sentence again was that it was locked. It was locked.
It's locked.
It's locked, and that's what triggered you to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool, cool.
I mean, I've written about locked gates about half a dozen times in these prompt parties. We're like, man, there's gates
Everybody's
all the
getting
time.
locked out.
That must be some sort of psychological thing. But yeah, so I was just thinking, in my story, they're going to find fairies in these different random out of the way places. But I'm thinking because they meet up in the second book, they meet up with the witches who kind of oversee the fairies. And so I'm thinking this probably has either something to do with that or with his brother who has disappeared and they have found on
Yeah.
YouTube and in a cult setting. So this could be the cult.
This could
It
be the
a
cult
witch
gate,
thing,
the
it could be
turtle cult.
I don't really know what this is, but it has a multicolored date.
Ah, yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
And so am I correct, Jackie, that your interpretation of the many arrows was lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of where I went with it too. Cool.
So yeah, so the lightning bolt, you know, obviously I was going for it once it got dark.
The
there was
rain.
gonna have
Yeah,
some
it was
sky
coming.
flashes,
Yeah.
and they were going to be using their flashlight. So I didn't get either of those two in, but I think I got all the other words or the sense of all the other words in there.
Yeah, but you have like a great sort of a start of a story. There's a setting there, and it's not it's
And
it's
weird.
always challenging with these things that sometimes you have like turtle and it's so random, but you like had it nice and seamlessly in there. Like it is strange that there's a turtle in the gate, but not strange as in like, what is this author doing? It's more in like, oh, what does this turtle mean? Like as a reader, it's an intriguing question, not a confusing one. So really good job. Yeah. And I know, I'm familiar with your world and your story. So it fits really nicely into all of that as well, too.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I have no idea what's behind the gate any more than you guys do.
Right.
But it does open up, like, I can see myself needing a scene like this where they've gone somewhere and I'm like, oh, right, I wrote that.
Right. And like I said, that turtle gate is like one of those things that it's like you almost can't stop thinking about it. It's like, what does it mean? What could it be? I kind of want to know. I'm intrigued. Like, let's open the gate. Let's find out what happens next.
Yeah, so maybe his brother joined the turtle cult or
the
something.
turtle cult. I need to know.
The cult of the sea turtle or something. I don't know.
It's
Anyway.
hilarious. That's great.
Maybe there are turtle fairies.
Turtle, right?
No, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. There's
But
so
yeah,
many
so
options.
I've set myself up for something that I can use like in a variety of capacities. So
Yeah. Very cool. All right, Linda, how you feeling? You ready to read aloud?
I can read it. It's really short though, because I had to go to the bathroom in between.
I hate when that happens to me. I'm like, oh, I
was
lost
sitting here
half my
dying,
time.
thinking, oh God. Okay, so this
No
is
worries.
short, and it sounds more like a children's book.
That's
So
great. As you were talking about how you use this stuff, I was like, oh yeah, an abacus. This does sort of lend itself to a kid's room. Like, why didn't I think of that? But go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mute
okay.
myself so you can read.
The lightning lit up the sky. Max was, wait a second. Max was waiting for the thunder next. It never came. So he walked back to his house, opened the door, and went to check on his son, who was sleeping in the teepee they had set up in his room that afternoon. Max wanted his son to live out his imagination. So when the boy showed an intense interest in the Wild West, he had taken him to the American Indian Museum in New York City, as well as read him many books about Indians, and especially a book of Indian myths. Max Jr. loved the way the Indians lived with nature and used all of the animals they hunted, so there was never any waste. His family really tried to be ecologically careful about all they did, so the Indian lifestyle appealed not only to him, but what his family believed and practiced. Some weekends they went camping and explored the forests around them and the lake nearby. Max was able to fashion a bow and arrow with the help of his dad and the wildlife survival booklet they had, as well as watching many YouTube, things. The most difficult part of building the bow was finding a piece of wood that was strong enough to bend when the arrow was inserted, yet supple enough to go back to its shape. I have to write more about that because that's a very hard thing to do. The most difficult part of the arrow making was finding feathers that would force the arrow to give it finding feathers on the forest floor to give the arrow swift flight and also create a sharp point for the arrow that would be durable and strong. The arrow took about 1 week to fashion and lots of YouTube videos. Max Jr. kept all of his drawings, and plans in the old trunk at the foot of his bed that he kept padlocked. There was even a jade turtle and abacus that his dad and he had bought when they were studying ancient China and its customs. He couldn't wait to go back to the country to a new campsite and try out his bow and arrow on a target pinned to a tree. That's it.
I love it. I love it. I want to hang out with this family. These are my people.
You did long, actually.
It was, yeah. No, you had a lot in there for sure. I think it's such a great, like I said, you did such a great job of identifying how this could be all kids stuff. And I'm thinking, are you working on anything right now, Linda, or you just is this a a place in your world of anything that you're writing right now?
No, it's not, because what I'm writing about is my old age and a lot about my son's problems. So, but I tutor children in the afternoons here, and
Okay.
and a lot of I love children's books, so that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking of. Yeah.
No, but there's so much that can be done there, and it does feel like these characters have like this beautiful relationship. The whole family. I mean, we're looking at the father and
Yeah.
son, but we know that the whole family has this sort of philosophy and way of growing together. That's really, really neat. I could see not only like sitting with this and building a little story about, making the bow and arrow, but you
Mhm.
can almost see a series of this family, like what is the next thing that they
That they
want to
do
create
together. Yeah,
together,
that's
or
true.
that they
You're right.
learn
Yeah.
together. And that could be really, really fun. I mean, because that's kind of how I roll with my son over here. We're always learning new things, and I feel like I'm learning alongside him.
Oh, it's
So
wonderful. I know.
yeah,
I
so
love that
that could
about
be
children. Yeah.
that story sort of resonates with me in that way, that it's very true to life, like that there's so many families that sort of go about it this way.
Thank
So
you.
Yeah, I liked it. I think, it was very, I could see it, and, I could really sort of live in that space. And then when you started talking about making the bow, I did that once about 10 years ago in a survival class. And
Oh my God.
it, what we did, I think it was juniper wood. I'm not even sure what we used, but like I spent like half a day carving the wood from like a stick that I found to, a flat kind of bow with the curved end, the points on the end. And that was quite a task. I still have it. I'm very proud of my bow. It actually
Wow.
did shoot arrows. Like, we didn't make the arrows. We had some targets set up, and we had some arrows, and we tried out our bows, which the string is, I think it's paracord. I think that's what we used. So anyway,
yeah.
so this is possible and doable and not very effective, but it is possible to do it. So
Yeah, and I think
like
that's
sitting in this thing going, yeah, you really can, even with minimal really training and knowledge, you can actually make a workable bow. I don't know about the arrow part, but
I
Yeah.
think that's also one of the things that I appreciate about your story, Linda, is that you didn't say, and then they made a bow and arrow.
right.
And like as if this is a very simple sort of thing. It's like, no,
No,
there's,
the
like
reason I
there's,
didn't do that was because I saw something on TV this week about, it was about the Mongols and how they had figured out that the
okay,
best feathers to use were the little feathers because they went faster.
nice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, wow.
I love that. I love those little seeds that we pick. We think we're just
Yeah.
watching a show, and then later when we go to write a story, it's like all about that thing that I watched last week. What? That was really, really great, Linda. Very awesome job.
Yes,
I
thank
love
you
it.
for sharing. I have to run away because I have another thing at 7.
No
Maybe
worries.
Nicole, you can share your story with me later.
Okay, I'm gonna read it real quick, but Jackie, thank you for coming. As always, I will put your links in our show description so people can check out your Vela story if they're
Awesome. Thank you.
happening.
Thank you,
Enjoy.
Jack. I want to know about the fairies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Storycauldron.substack.com. That's the easiest way to find me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, drop it in the chat before we go so Linda can get it, and then I will make sure and put it in the
I have a
show description.
specific one on the story itself and like how you can find it, but that's the general link.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I will catch you guys later.
All right. Bye, Jackie. Okay, Linda, you are my sole audience. Here we go.
I gotcha.
Okay, they call me Tuga, short for Tortuga or turtle, because I am the slow one, the one who gets lost in the woods on the hunt. It is darkest before the storm, Papa Oso says. I should be patient, that there is still time to prove myself, but I am counting the days until my 13th birthday, and I worry the tribe will lock me out forever if I don't make my own kill soon. After dinner, I tell Papa I'm going to find the wolf. It is too dangerous tonight, Tuga. Stay slow and patient, as your nature tells you. Your time will come. I told him I understood and would wait for a clearer night. I lied. When the family sleeps, I grab the torch and my bow and arrow and thank the spirits for my silence of my slow movements. I head to the river. Papa might have been right, for the creatures felt whatever he warned of, because no living thing stirs as I walk. At the river edge, I learn why. The lightning cracks overhead and a storm consumes the earth and sky. My torchlight is swallowed in darkness, and I quickly find myself in the familiar world of lost directions. I huddle inside a cave I do not remember ever having seen before and count the silence between the lightning and thunder as Papa taught me. The storm is moving as the sun begins to rise. A rainbow appears on the horizon as I hear the echoes of the snores behind me. I have found the den. I will not slaughter one wolf with no way to escape on my slow body. I will instead walk home, mark my path, and bring the whole tribe back with me. I will be slow and patient as my nature tells me, for at last my time has come.
Wow.
That is what I wrote.
Wow, that's like a walkabout in Australia. Wow.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of with the lock was like if I had somebody that was sort of locked out of, a culture or
Yeah.
something, because the padlock and the teepee seemed so like at ends for me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they were in two total, and I was like, what the heck is that? And then I did kind of like what Jackie was talking about with the abacus, and thought about it as counting instead of a physical abacus, because I was like, that it was those three objects that sort of, oh, and the flashlight, those four things. Like I said, I love that you thought of a kid's room, because that is where all these things could actually be. I was like, where the heck are all these things going to be together? This is bananas. So I went symbolic on most of them. But
that was good. It was because I wanted to know what happened to this child or
Right.
almost man,
right.
teen.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was interesting, very different for me, and not, like I said, not in any world that I'm doing right now. So pretty cool. But Linda, I'm so happy you made it to the writing prompt party this
I'm
month.
always home on Fridays and I always forget it.
I know, that's what
I always forget. I need to put it on my refrigerator so I see it every day.
Jackie and I were like, oh, I guess it's gonna be just the two of us. So we were just talking a little bit. And when your name came up, I'm like, Linda did it. She made it. It's Linda. And Jackie's like, I don't know Linda. I'm like, I know, because she keeps missing it.
Because I can't. Yes, you're right. Now I know how I did it. So hopefully I'll remember next week.
Right. Well, it's not every week. It's once a month right
Yeah.
now, because especially with the summer and everything. And next month, I will definitely send out the email again, because next month is probably going to move, just because I think I'm going to be away with the family on the 4th. I usually do it on the 4th Friday of the month. So just keep your eye on the inbox, and I'll also post it in the Stop Writing Alone Facebook and everything like that, just whenever I figure out what date actually.
Well, I'm going to be in New York at the end of August because it's my mom's 98th birthday.
Oh my goodness, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know if I can visit her though, because she's in a nursing home and they're not allowing visitors right now. So I'm like,
okay. Yeah, but there's, the surge is back, it seems. So I know that
Yes, yes.
yeah, all the rules are going all over the place. Things
Huh.
are opening and closing as we go.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
well, I hope you do get to see her. That would be
I do
wonderful.
too. I
Yeah.
would feel terrible. I mean, it's been a long time,
I was just going to ask, have you seen her in a while or
Well, since
no?
the pandemic, no. The last
Okay.
time I saw her was around October a year and a half
Of
ago. Yeah.
19 or yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like
My
2000, I
goodness.
don't know what it was. This is
Yeah.
21, so maybe 2019. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, Linda, it was great writing with you and hearing your story. I really do feel like there's a whole world in your story right there that could be explored. Um, so I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because this would be a cute thing for me to start to do, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. That family I feel like has a life that could be really fully explored and you can have fun. A little series of different whatever. Like I
Yeah,
said, the different things they learn in every story could be a lot of fun. Very cool.
okay, great. Well, I hope you have a good time on your vacation.
Oh, thank you.
And I
Yeah, I'm
hope
in the
you're
same
feeling
boat
better.
that
I
I'm
saw
hoping
that you were
like
sick.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping we can have our connections with everybody and see everybody, right now. Everything's looking good, but we
good,
shall
good.
see.
Who knows? Yeah, I know. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you whatever you have it next time.
Okay, sounds great, Linda. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Nicole.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your writer friends. And if you need anything else from Stop Writing Alone, head to stopwritingalone.com.